Freakout.
Interesting video today that ties into a topic that I've discussed on streams passionately for years now. Tipping. I know, all at once, a bunch of...
To be honest, tipping is so outrageous. You don't even consider it's normal anymore, right? The first one is like the first decade of tipping is pretty good, pretty tame. You see someone struggling for their lives, you gotta tip them, right? But after a while, it's so outrageous to the point that if you were to tip, it would be 20% or maybe 50% of what you ate. What the fuck was that?
People just went from the relaxed position to the locked-in stance in their chairs because tipping is a hot-button topic. So what happened is some guys went to a restaurant, got some food, paid for it, and left, but the restaurant owner noticed they didn't leave a tip.
See?
So he starts following them around on the street like the adoring fan.
What the fuck? That is worse than I thought. What?
And from Oblivion, he is literally just on their tail like it's a fucking trailing mission out of a video game, and he's like insulting them, even like threatening them, all about not leaving that tip.
Hey bro, what are you on, bro? What are you on? I paid for my food. I paid for my food. What are you talking? Why are you following me down the fucking street? Nigga, you need to get the fuck back. You need to get back. Why are you following me?
What are you gonna do?
What? Why are you following me? What are you gonna do? Call 911. Call 911. If you need to settle something, you know who to call.
The guy filming is right. He didn't break any laws. He paid for his meal, and it's not a legal obligation to tip. So the owner on his ass here like a hemorrhoid, like it's, you know, the horror movie It Follows.
Oh yeah, the fish thing I got from watching TV. You guys should do it too if you wanna get some. Maybe I watched 3 days, get one. It's shit, but it is what it is.
About him not tipping is wrong here, because again, he didn't do anything wrong. So the guy filming is like, well, call the police then if you think there's been some, you know, foul play, you know, some dirty barnacles from us. You can call the police about it. Obviously, the owner's not going to do that because there's not actually a case there.
Bro, I'm not trying to fuck with you. You piece of shit. Bro,
I'm not trying to goddamn fucking yell at me.
I'm not trying to fuck with you, bro.
You shut your goddamn fucking mouth.
Why are you following me down the street?
You piece of shit, little piece
bro,
of shit, man.
I paid for my food.
I'll smack the shit out of
bro,
you, punk ass, man.
I paid for my food, bro.
Piece of shit.
I paid for my food.
How the fuck do you think
bro,
they make money?
I paid for my food.
Shit,
How
my fucking staff supposed to make fucking money, huh?
So raise your price,
huh?
Now I'm cutting around this a little bit because, as I said, this goes on for a long time. It feels like he follows them for miles. It felt like in Game of Thrones when they were...
To be honest, if someone were to yell at me, I would call someone for help or maybe call the police at this point, right? The first thing they would gonna do is that, bro, why didn't you tip or something like that? It's not the first fucking thing that you do is yell at and like let it be happen. What?
Marching for like a whole season. It felt like we got all of that throughout the course of this video, and it also was getting very heated. It started sounding like a Xbox Live lobby after a Call of Duty round ended. It was getting pretty big and a lot of yelling. But when the owner said that, how is my staff supposed to make money? Brother, it felt like I got teabagged. I was stunned. I was seeing stars. You are the owner. What do you mean, how is your staff supposed to make money?
Yeah.
Pay them a livable wage. Like, it's not the most difficult to grasp concept. You don't need to be astronaut Katy Perry to...
They acting like they, no, most of the staff that say stupid shit like that, they acting like they are the charity one, right? Oh, you need to pay them so that they could live the minimum wage. Bro, you're the one who owned the fucking company. Why didn't you own the fucking restaurant? Why didn't you do anything about it? You let customer do it, but you yourself didn't do it. What kind of fucking logic is that? I really don't understand that. I really don't.
Understand this rocket science here. Tipping is a way for businesses to save money on their employee salaries by paying them sub-minimum wage. It's a way for business owners to financially treat the faces of their employees like a fucking fleshlight by paying them less than what they are supposed to. Because tipping is supposed to make up for the difference, at least in the majority of states. There are some states that I'm aware of where restaurant workers can get tips, but they are still paid the normal minimum wage.
See?
But in most of the states in America, you get sub-minimum wage when you are working in a service industry position.
He yelling like he couldn't make any more. He couldn't give the money anymore. Like, bro, you could. You literally could, but you chose to not to. What?
That has tipping as part of it. Tipping is just so ingrained in the culture of America.
The reason why I stopped the video sometimes is because I'm so annoying to the point I couldn't play it. To the point that I said, oh, fuck it, bro. And then I just start doing shit. And then I could do it again. This is the reason why, though.
Right now, and it has just become pervasive in every industry. I'm sure a lot of you watching this have seen like self-checkout kiosks that now have tips that pop up occasionally. There is tipping in every single thing, and it's been a big talking point for a few years because now you are getting asked to tip on purely automated services. Like, who the fuck are you even tipping? Skynet? Like, it doesn't make sense. It is just outrageous. But when it comes to restaurants, the workers rely on tips because they're not getting paid a livable wage in the majority of states, and thus the onus is on the customer now to try and make up that difference so that restaurant worker can fucking survive. And it sucks. That shit is awful. Now in my case, I do maximum tip on everything in the service industry because I'm in a position to do so. And I know that they need that money, so I'd like to try and help out best I can. And Lord help us,
Yep.
Shame to admit it, I've even tipped at...
To be honest, the problem is not about you wanted to tip or not. The problem is that the tipping culture is way above their intended purposes. Then that's the reason why I really hate it. It's not because it's just a tipping, giving away money, but the problem is it's giving away money out of greedy corporation, right? If it's just tipping normally, yeah, that's okay, but it's not. It's actually not. So that's the reason why I'm annoyed about it.
a self-serve froyo place once, where literally didn't interact with a single employee or anything, just made my own froyo, and I still tipped at the goddamn checkout.
See?
But point is, not everyone can do that, and not everyone should be required or expected to do that. It should always be the responsibility of the business to ensure the employees are making a livable wage, and tips should be something that is entirely optional as a way of rewarding exceptional service. And I know people have talked about that a lot, where they want to give extra to someone that really went above and beyond from them and they had a great experience with, so they want to tip that person to show their appreciation. That's great, but they should also just be making a livable wage, and that tip should go on top. I think that's how it should work in an ideal situation there.
It's not an
Why you
ideal.
follow me down the street?
It's not an ideal. It's a normal thing. What? Why people? What? Does working not giving you the right to live anymore? You need to get a tip? How is the world moving so backward to the point that it's surprising? Holy shit. Okay.
Bro, chill out,
bro. Fucking make
chill
money,
out,
huh?
chill out.
Why'd you following this man?
Chill out, bro. You need to calm down, bro.
You
Why
fucking
you
raise your
following me down
goddamn
the
voice
street,
at me, huh?
Bro, you
Huh?
need to get back.
You
You trying to
wanna
back
fucking
me into a
apologize now?
corner. You trying to back me into a corner, bro.
What is wrong with you, bro?
What are you doing? What are you doing, bro?
And now you mad because I won't tip you and you follow me down
How
the
am I
street?
supposed to fucking make money?
Okay, so raise your prices,
They don't
dude. That's
get
not
money
my
like
problem.
that, you fucking
I know
shit.
you
Niggas
not.
don't
I know.
work like
So
that.
don't serve me.
It's crazy to be doing this while wearing his restaurant on his chest. So what happened after this video blew up is a lot of people went to the restaurant and left a lot of really bad reviews on it, which I think they've been deleted now. I don't know if it's by him or if there's like a system in place for it. Couldn't tell you. But it was a really bad look for his restaurant here. He also just recently did an interview with CBS. I'll show you that in a moment. But I want to dive into the spaghetti and meatballs of something that the guy filming mentioned briefly. Raise your prices then. He's right. If the business owner can't afford to pay his employees a livable wage, he would naturally need to raise prices so he'd have more money to be able to pay his employees. But on the flip side of that coin, by raising his prices, he would have less customers because they would choose a place that is cheaper. Now, there's actually a little experiment conducted by someone named Michael Lynn, and it's been referenced by a lot of people. In the
you forgot one problem. Hey, you forgot you forgot one single particular thing, that is, if he raises his prices, he doesn't need a tip. So he could make the restaurant called no tipping, or maybe don't have to tip, because he already the employee already get the money. Like, it's not cruel, it's actually pretty smart, right?
Talk about tipping culture, where he put two hypothetical restaurants against each other. Restaurant 1 had prices of like $15 for a cheeseburger, but a 15 to 20.
If he raises his prices and he still need a tip, that's on him, right? That's actually on him. He's the one who did wrong. But if he raises the prices and he didn't need to depend on tips anymore, it's actually a plus, right? Doesn't it? Tipping culture starting from by the minimum wage doesn't support the living wage, right? But if the minimum wage support the living wage, then why do you need tip anyway, right? Isn't it better?
% gratuity to be expected at the end versus restaurant 2, where there is no tipping at all, but the cheeseburger is $17.25. Now, if you've got your thinking caps on, if you've passed, second grade arithmetic, you'll know these are the same price. But overwhelmingly, the people in the study thought that restaurant 1 was cheaper. Thus, people are going to gravitate towards that. Even though they're the same price after tip, people are going to choose the one that...
You need to say no tipping, like no tipping, because if you say that it's no tipping and the employee also said, oh, it's okay, it's no tipping, and then you would feel relieved, right? You would feel relieved.
Looks lower and cheaper to them. You have to remember, a lot of people are just fucking stupid. Does anyone recall when the third of a pound burger was introduced a long time ago? I've talked about this too.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, the quarter pounder crushing it. And A&W wanted to start trying to, encroach on that territory, so they introduced a third of a pound burger. But it flopped. It completely failed. This shit fumbled like Concorde. It was a culinary Concorde level disaster for them because people thought they were paying the same price for less burger. They didn't realize that a third of a pound is more than a quarter pound. So in the case of a restaurant that wants to pay their workers a livable wage and take tipping out of the equation and instead put that price into the menu itself, which is what a lot of people say they should do, well, their restaurant might not survive very long because people don't actually think very hard about things.
Okay.
So even in this hypothetical example, you're paying the same price, but the perception is it's cheaper to go with the place that just has tipping as an option.
Now that I didn't mean that, and now that I think about it, it's just sad, man.
Now that brings us to the unicorn that people are looking so desperately to have, where all of the tipping is gone, eradicated, but all of the prices have stayed exactly the same. That's just not a realistic possibility for like 99% of these restaurants. Like, when they take away the tipping, they are then going to need to pay a lot more for those employees. Thus, they're going to need to somehow get more money. It's going to be by folding that difference into the menu items. Thus, it's going to look like you're paying more, even in cases where you might not be. So, it's very tough for a lot of these restaurants to just immediately jump on board with that, which is why we're in this fucking stalemate where tipping culture is just completely out of control, and why so many service industry workers are getting fucked because of just how rampant this issue is, and more people are choosing not to tip because they want to fight back against this. And in a lot of cases, they don't realize that they're not
Holy shit, I didn't see that it was 12 rocket.
actually fighting back against tipping culture itself. They're just hurting the employees that are relying on it. And I think a lot of it doesn't, like, I don't think it comes down to malice. I don't think they're doing that to just be like, fuck you to the service industry workers. I really think that they believe by not tipping, the restaurant is going to change its policy. But it's probably not.
It
unfortunately.
doesn't.
Most of these
Like,
fucking restaurants.
We have a pretty good imagination, but you shouldn't think that they would change over the others. The most greediest of the greedy thing, and you expect them to change? It's strange, right? It's strange. It really is.
Will sooner pay their workers in knuckle sandwiches than they will in raising their salary.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more nuance to it. Like, I'm just giving you like bare bones surface level shit here. Like, I haven't even begun to talk about the establishments that pay out a portion of their tips across all of the employees. Like, it gets so messy, and there are so many underhanded tactics to exploit these workers. It's a fucking issue. Anyway, though, back to the video that started this whole rant. I want to show you from the owner's perspective on the CBS interview.
Telling us he followed a regular into the street, intending to tell him never to come back after leaving without tipping again.
Have you watched the video?
Bro, what the
Yes.
fuck did I just...
And when you watched it, what did you see there?
Shamed her. I was just
What the
ashamed, you know, bring shame to my wife as a husband, you know, as an owner, you know, at the same time, you know, to my mom and dad.
So according to the owner here, this was a customer that's a regular at the establishment, and he had finally had enough, so after he didn't tip again, he followed him outside, intending to just say, don't come back, kind of like shake his fist at him, and stay out, and that kind of thing. But it obviously spiraled more out of control than that and blew up in a much bigger way, which ignited a huge debate online about tipping. Because tipping is a very controversial topic. People feel very strongly, especially people that have been in the industry before. And while there definitely are cases where people don't tip just to be an asshole, I really do think there is a lot of confusion around how tipping even like works, that people think by not doing it, they're going to help be like a cat.
Like, the problem about that is that some people don't have money. Like, if I were to get a $5 sandwich, do you actually think I would take $10 with me? If I were to have $10, I would buy $10 sandwich. Why the fuck? What kinds of logic is that? That's the reason why I don't understand tipping much. I really don't.
Is for change at that business, where they'll realize that the tips aren't coming in, so it's losing the business money, thus they're going to change their policy to actually pay their workers a livable wage, and then they won't be, you know, forced to rely on strangers to cover their expenses. But that's, again, just not going to happen in the majority of cases, because it doesn't hurt the actual business owner.
Yeah.
What's supposed to happen is if they don't reach minimum wage, like if they don't get enough tips to reach that, the business is supposed to cover it. That rarely happens. There are so many workarounds that these businesses pull, so many like backdoor hand job reacharoos that they are able to squeak out of not actually covering that. So it doesn't ever hurt the business itself. It only hurts the worker. And I really think there's a large number of people that don't understand that. But even understanding that, there are people that just can't afford to pay an extra 20% on top of what they've already just paid. And I see a lot of people regurgitating this take that's becoming very common. If you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to eat out. Okay, fair enough.
What the fuck does that even mean? Doesn't eat out just selling stuff? I mean, don't get me wrong, some take is pretty good, but this one is retarded.
In something like Uber Eats or like fine dining or something, okay, you can make that argument, I suppose. But it doesn't work for everything, because there is no cheap ways of eating anymore, really. Even something like fast food is not that cheap. A McDonald's meal, it's not $1 anymore, sports fans. It's a handful of clams. And grocery shopping is pretty fucking pricey too. It's expensive. Like, it is hard to pay an extra 15 to 20% consistently on top of things that you're already paying for when you're eating. Like, I just don't fully agree with that take.
Bro, you about to blow up on social media, bro.
When asked why he didn't tip, the customer told people online, "Oh, I just didn't want to." Cho tells us the customer's brother has since come in, describing their conversation as productive.
I apologized to him and to his family, and I was asking if he can pass this message along to his little brother.
Adding he sent the brother home with the customer's favorite order, a handwritten apology and an offer.
My door's open for you, man. You know, come on by anytime.
Now, while I do think that response of, "oh, I just didn't want to," is pretty douchey, again, he doesn't have to. And I really do think it shouldn't be expected that every single person does tip, because that's just the reality of it. It is 100% an issue that needs to be addressed on, like, the actual business front. And it's why there's so many people that study tipping itself and are trying to brainstorm how to improve it and get rid of it to certain
Improve tipping? How? What do you want to do, bro? What you want to... okay.
extents, because it is a terrible fucking system that nobody else in the world really uses, and in a lot of other cultures is actually viewed as insulting. So, like, it is something that does need changing. 100%. Now, in the case of this business owner here, he really seems remorseful. Like, he really does seem like he's trying to make amends. It does seem like maybe he was just having, like, a really fucking bad day, and not getting that tip meant that one of his workers wasn't going to receive, like, the full pay they should have, so he snapped and did this, and he seems embarrassed by it. So I'm of the belief that he does regret it, and that this is going to be an experience that he won't be repeating or anything like that. But that statement he made during the argument, "how is my staff supposed to make a living without tips?" Paraphrasing a bit, but that was the essence. It speaks volumes to just how poisonous tipping has become, where the business owner himself cannot even grapple with the idea of paying his employees a livable wage, because it's such an accepted and expected business practice of paying them sub-minimum wage, literal tiddlywinks of dollars, because it's the customer's responsibility to take care of the rest. That's just crazy to me. It blows my mind. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. So yeah.